and you can see some of the copper it pulled in. It felt like I'd bottomed out, so I think I got it fed as far as I could. Back here with the 2004 Subaru Impreza, trying to rethread the bottom center head bolt that was stripped, and when I got the car apparently. And what I'm going to do is I've wrapped this with electrical tape. I am going to use nice protective surface, kind of, and find some place to tap this in. Now getting this back out is going to be all kinds of fun. This may be permanent. But yeah, it still moves a little bit, but that should hold it. That way I can get it back out.
So what you're saying is, if you're following our advice on this, you might not want to do this to something you will regret losing.
If you don't have to have it secured, just leave it alone. You don't need to do the tape trick. The tape trick is because this is in a weird spot. And something I found that kind of works for this one, I've jacked the engine up a little bit, but to keep it from having to jack up so high, you're going to need to be over the top to see this. If you feed it back behind this AC line, you can get it in there without the socket on there.
Now, did we bend that AC line to move it
No,
out of
that's how it is stock. I haven't messed with it.
I want to make sure.
That's how it is set up stock. And that should be a standard socket, which is the one thing I don't seem to have anywhere.
Okay. We're going to find that here real quick. Okay, I'm not going to record a whole bunch of ratcheting because I know that kind of annoys some people to hear ratchet, ratchet, ratchet over the whole thing. But I'm just going to let everybody know that we got it in there, as you can see. And he's going to do the whole 2 down, 1 up method, correct?
I would if it caught anything. I got in a little bit, it cleared whatever it was hung up on, and now I can't get deep enough to bite any metal.
Okay. So we're going to figure this one thing out.
Well, it cut a thread into some of the copper wire that was still packed in there, and then it was done. So, oh, that worked real good. All right. I have, I'm using a 200. Oh.
Yeah, it's still recording.
The light flashed at me. I didn't know what that meant.
I just turned on the flash, guys.
All right. That's fine. But I've been working this back and forth. It's the wrong threading. It's a 1.75, but that's the smallest thread count I can find in the 200 millimeter length. So I'm going to work it in. And I think someone may have tried to cut threads before, because I would catch threads, do a half turn, and then it would just move freely. So I don't know what's been done to this poor thing. But the biggest thing with this is I should be able to make this work. I'm just going to have to find different threads, adapters. Well, not the adapters, but the die to recut the bolt. Which, at the 1.75, I might be able to actually get a bolt to work, so I may go shopping for bolts, because that puts it into thread range that you can actually buy in this length. So, and you should be using oil. I got it in there, didn't want to pull everything out again, so I'm not. But there's plenty of motor oil in there, so that should do it just fine. Which is working as a blood stop right now, too. And something I did for this one, is make sure it's straight, and I'm having to use a ratchet. I'm using these 2 bolts that are lined up with that hole centered below them. I'm trying to lean with the engine and use that as a sight. So I keep it squared and going in straight.
Yeah, because those things apparently can get off kilter, and then you're threading the wrong way. Which may be what occurred last time, if I had to venture a guess.
I don't know what they did. And then you bolt it in a little bit, then you bolt it out a little bit. So I keep cutting back and forth to make sure I get good threads.
Yeah. Which we do know what they did one thing here. Decided to destroy a valve in an attempt to convince somebody they need a new engine.
Probably because they popped this bolt and didn't want to have to take the engine out to rethread it.
Yeah.
I ran into the same problem. You can't get squat.
Mm-hmm. Which we decided not to pull this engine because reasons.
If I have to pull this engine, I'm pulling this car apart. So that's pretty well where this car is in between.
Yep. And here's to hoping we don't have to pull the engine. We're doing everything to prevent us from pulling the engine because of that reason.
Because it still will make someone a good car.
Oh, yeah.
If I can fix this.
Yeah, we don't want to sell this thing bits and pieces because there's nothing wrong with this car other than
a couple of stupid things on the repairs, which I fixed that side, and now I'm fixing this side. And I got the water pump replaced.
Yep. Water pump's replaced. That's fixed. That's fixed. All it would lack is like a proper airbox because it's got the airbox there, but we don't.
The line's missing.
Yeah, so it is currently in fuel saver mode. Think of it as that way.
It's sucking hot air.
It's fuel saver mode.
Yeah. Well, there was an in and there wasn't. Thought we were good with this. This was what I was tapping with. I was just going to have to find a different thread adapter and a different bowl adapter. But I went back in here to clean the metal out and discovered that the little metal stuff from the wires I did before was the only thing this threaded into. You can see on the floor some metal pieces that came out, and that was all that was holding it because this thing just goes straight right in now. So there was never any threads cut. That's why it was cutting in weird spots. All I was cutting was the wire gap stuff I put in it.
So we got to figure out a different solution.
Which means I'm going to have to go up to a larger size because there's nothing for this to cut into until you get down to the very back of the block. And that's the only place where it was still catching this. This doesn't go that far down. And that was all there anything left. So I'm guessing someone did this once already and messed it up and just left it. Either that or this engine block is made of metal that's so soft I can't do this.
Could be column A, column B. Either way, we're going to try one more time before we do crazy funky things to keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped asking politely.
Yep, I got studs to put in. Gonna put one in, use thread lock, and hope it sets up. If that doesn't work, I have high temp JB weld. That will be the next attempt. Because I can't get it to hold threads, I can't get it to do squats. So there's still some threading left. It'll thread up to about here. It just won't tighten down. I'm hoping with enough of this permanent thread lock, it'll hold. We will see. If it doesn't, then the next step is going to be...
disassembly.
Yep. But I've used the blue thread lock to hold a pulley on a Jeep before. Because I had to use a... There you go. Had to use a pulley for a bush hog piece of farm equipment to replace the power steering pulley because it self-destructed and bent the pulley, and it was an impossible to get part.
Well, what this means is wherever you're sitting at home watching this now, whether that be in Georgia or say India or England or somewhere, if you suddenly randomly hear cursing throughout the day, you'll know we are pulling this thing apart. Just know that is what is going on and smile. Or maybe say a prayer for us. We'll accept either response.
I wish I could have found this in thick formula, but apparently they don't make the permanent stuff in thick formula, so I am going to put an extensive amount, as much as I can get to stay on here, basically.
What's next after this? Send it to the guy who tears the parts of the engines?
Probably. After this, I think I'm about to the point where I'm just going to dismantle this car and sell its parts.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why the engine block won't take threading, but it won't. And that stuff is expensive now. I've learned that.
That stuff work for high temperatures and whatnot?
Yeah, it's supposed to be good for high strength, high temp to 5. I think it's supposed to be good to 500 something.
I think that'll be fine.
300 and something. You've got to cook it and put high tension on it to get it out. So it should be, if it's getting hot enough to make this release, the engine's a meltdown. Let's put it that way.
You got bigger issues.
Yeah. Okay. Now I got another one. Got another one here. It does a bolt and washer. I am going to put a bolt on there so I don't tighten it too much. Which it shouldn't. It should bottom out before it gets there, but I'm still going to do this as insurance just to be on the safe side.
You make sure it holds straight.
Mainly just to make sure that I don't tighten it in so far that I can't get a bolt on it. I should have done this before I put it in there.
I wasn't going to say anything. That's exactly what I was thinking. In fact, that's what everybody is screaming at their TV or their phone right now. Why didn't you do that beforehand?
Because I forgot.
That's why we throw that disclaimer down there. I almost talked him into putting up paid professional idiots, but he says we have to be paid first before we're called paid professional idiots.
We're not getting paid yet, so it don't really qualify. Doing this all by feel. And this particular set ended up being a number 5 metric hex key.
Heck, if you're resorting to this, watch to the end of these videos and make sure that it worked for us first. That's my only advice at that point.
This is what you do if you want to upgrade one of these to turbo. Because the turbo, you end up using a stud.
I did not know that. We're just trying to upgrade to no oil leak.
The head gasket will remain a head gasket.
Yes. This all started because we were like, we feel bad about selling a car that is leaking oil. Let's go ahead and tighten the bolts on this side before we sell it. Who had that idea?
It was valve cover gaskets. But the good news is it's catching. The bad news is it's in a bad spot, so it's hard to get leverage. There we go. I took the bolt that I use as a depth measure off, and it tightened down good. Now I'm just trying to make sure there's no thread lock anywhere I don't want thread lock. So.
And then after that, we're going to let it cure for 48 hours.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to let it cure 48 hours. I think it doesn't require that much, but I still want to do it.
Yeah.
Good to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Didn't say you have to let it cure, but I'm going to let it cure.
Yeah. Well, just to be on the safe side, we're going to let it cure a couple days.
Because I want it to have its full PSI.
Yes.
And we'll see. It tightened up nicely. It actually got where that was flexing on the Titan, so I think we're good. The threading on these bolts, it's got the same pitch, but if you look, I think the threads, oh, you can kind of tell there, the threads on the new bolt, I think, are actually a little taller than the threads on the old bolts. So it was able to bite a little bit more.
And I'll have him send me the link so I can put it in the video.
Of Bull Turbo or something like that. It was a...
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but yeah. I'm fairly impressed with their products. The scratches on these are my fault. I've been messing with them, and I tried to sleeve it with the thread inserts I was going to use, and it wasn't clear, so I couldn't get it in, so I had to pull them back off. And that one I had to clean solvent out, made a tool. That's something I was going to show. This is my clean out wire that I was using to clean all the metal shavings out of there. and I just taped paper towel to it and wrapped it real good with the little hook in there, and used that to clean all the solvent and stuff out after I sprayed it out. Used 2.5 cans of carb cleaner, clean it out.
So he jerry-rigged the wire and got it cleaned out.
And a straw brush. So now I have a proper, deep well brush. Just
Proper.
I don't recommend using it for straws anymore.
Proper.
So, but it's all good and clean. I got all the metal junk out of it. I cleaned everything out of there, so there's no metal bits, no oil, no nothing. So we should be good.
Okay. And this will be, see you in a couple days.
Back out here after it cured, and I start off by dropping the bolt somewhere down on the frame. But, we'll start this again. And luckily these are the 14 millimeter star, just like the bolts were on this stud. And let's see if the red thread lock did its job. I'm still happy with the fact it tightened down and quit tightening last time. It's been about 2 days.
It's been 2 days. We did this on Tuesday. It is now Thursday.
Yeah, we did Tuesday afternoon while there was still sunlight. Now it's dark, so on a Thursday.
Yep. Now, are we doing the ye old freaking tensioner torque?
Yeah, I'm going to use torque wrench too, starting it first, and I just realized I forgot to put the washer on. Now I got to take the bolt back off.
Hooray.
This time I won't have star pattern because all the others are tightened.
Yep.
So we'll see.
And he's setting this to 30. I don't think I was recording when he said it.
Yeah. 30.
So we're starting off at 30. Come on and click. That wasn't a click.
No, it wasn't. I just made sure I was actually on the nut.
Oh.
I got all kinds of stuff in the way.
You still getting resistance?
Not particularly. Let's see. Let's go back to the wrench. Let's see if the stud's turning. If the stud's turning, that means I have that has failed. Yep. Stud let go.
Pardon us while we scream. So the saga continues?
Yep. JB Weld it is.
Okay. Sorry about the close-up there. There we go.
Yep, it's out. The red Loctite, it did not Loctite. It did, and it didn't hold. It brought some metal out with it.
Is it still? You said it's still wet.
Yeah, a lot of the Loctite's still wet.
So maybe
see some of it's set up, but it's not holding.
How long does that stuff take to cure?
Not supposed to be that long.
Or maybe it's cold. It has been colder.
Yeah, maybe it's because it's cold. It didn't lock. It didn't set up properly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's our answer. The red Loctite didn't set up, probably because it's been 50 degrees max out here. What's our next step? JB Weld, or are you going to retry red thread?
And I'm going to look at setup times on it and probably maybe try it again. Possibly.
Question marks.
Or I may just skip and go ahead and do the JB Weld, but I'm going to have to clean it out again.
All right.
So.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this one. So tune in next time to hopefully have this put together.
So we're in the matchup between Crazy Carl versus Subi, the Kid Impreza. You've just lost round 9.
This is the flimsiest aluminum block. That's what my opinion of this is.
It's like part aluminum, part paper mache.
You can see which two threads caught. So, yep, I'm going to clean it out, clean this up, and I'm probably going to use the JB Weld.
Y'all tune in next time when that happens.
Yep, till next time.
Please like, share, and subscribe. And please pray for us. We could use all the help we could get on this right now.
At this point, we can use all the help we can get. So long.